Last week I had a couple of people come to see me, and what they wanted to do was start their business. Now, these aren't young people. These are people in their 40s, let's say. And they got an idea for a business, wanted to start a business, and they came to me and asked for some advice. And I thought about it, but I didn't give them a list of, do this, don't do that, although there are rules. But basically, when someone goes into business, you actually want them to think it through for themselves. So I talked a bit in general about debt and trying to avoid it, to be honest. And I thought of this analogy. Now, what it's about, see, if you don't know this, and you're in small business today, today is probably the best day that you're ever going to have. Now, there'll be ups and downs, but today's about it. But I just want to use a bit of an analogy about growth, and that's what we all want. We need growth. Things might be very good at the moment, but there's an old saying, and you know it, things are good until they're not. So I wanted to use this analogy with the British Empire. Now, after the Napoleonic Wars and the treasury was broke, so we had British adventurers. Now, they weren't Charles Darwin types that were, drawing pictures of birds and frogs. These were plunderers. So we had these British fleets that were going out looking for wealth, basically, and setting off around the world. They knew some of the places existed, but they were going to go and find them. Now, the end result was to, plunder the place, or to establish a colony and then have the people pay taxes to the British. And this is a long-term plan, obviously. But, so that's basically that. So they went out looking for new frontiers. And when they came across, say, America or Australia, what they had was, there's only really 3 types of frontier. There's brand new, unexplored territory, and you think, holy mackerel, this territory is wide open, we can establish here and grow. And so that's one type of frontier. Another type of frontier is technological frontiers, where you get a technological edge in your business. And a third type of frontier is exploiting poorly defended sectors or businesses, depending on your circumstance. So I'll just give you an example. The British set sail and they went over to America. Now, what they found over there, they got there and they thought, oh, look at this, the land of milk and honey. And at some extent, they did the same in Australia. And so now the land wasn't uninhabited, but it was very poorly defended. Now, guns to the British weren't a great technological achievement, but they were a brand new technological frontier to the Indians. They had never seen them before, and as a result of that technological advantage, they could plunder the place. Same as in Australia. There's a lot of similarities between Australia and America like that. So, they colonised America. They, by virtue of the fact that they had better technology, I mean, there were more people in America, but they had much better technology. Okay, so knowing that bit of history, we've got to try and apply that. If we try and apply that to our businesses, our small businesses. Now, small businesses, by their nature, have to be addicted to growth. And I don't mean certifiably addicted. But again, you're doing well today, and everything's good until it's not. If you remember 2008, when everything fell in a big hole. So it might be good today, but you've always got to be looking for growth. And this is the way I told them to think about it and to approach it. So what do they want to do? They want to build their business. And the sector they want to go into, they were telling me that they were very worried about the lots of competition. There was a lot of people in this sector. You know, I said, well, that's just a great thing, because there's a lot of people in it, there's a lot of business in it, there's a lot of money to be made, and you only have to be a little bit better, and you'll establish a good business. So, now, there are very few new frontiers. Now, every now and again up here we get a new coal mine, so that's a new area. But a lot of those mines have got existing contracts with other people. You know, it's a bit messy, but by and large, there are no new territories to discover. So we have a look for a technological edge. Now, look, you can, you need email, you need a website, and MyOb, but really that's all you need. You're not going to get a technological advantage over people by having a $50,000 invoicing program or business program. As a matter of fact, just on that, a lot of people use technology. Instead of it having a sales function, it's got more of a cost control function. And that's really a game of very diminishing returns. I mean, if you get obsessed with efficiencies and cost reductions, you can spend more money than you're ever going to save. You'll never get it back. So I tend to look at, you know, let's not try, unless there's an absolute case for it, but I don't know of one, where there's a technological advantage. Okay, so that only leaves us with poorly defended sectors or poorly defended businesses. Now, these frontiers are great. So we have a look at that, and these people want to start a lawn mowing, cleaning business, that sort of thing. Now, in the cleaning business, so this is just an example, but in the cleaning business, it doesn't matter who you talk to in cleaning, they want to be office cleaners. Because they, for some reason, they think that's easier, that's better, it's more casual, it's okay. So they all want to be office cleaners, but none of them want to be bond cleaners. So that's a very poorly defended sector of the cleaning industry. Now, another one might be, say, high-rise window cleaning or window cleaning at 3 stories. These are just, you know, examples that I'm using, but that's an example of a poorly defended sector. It's hard work, no one wants to be in it. Lawn mowing's a little bit different, but, you know, it's got the same characteristics in that it's a big business. There's a lot of business and a lot of people in it. And there's, you know, here's the interesting thing, and I know this from the cleaning industry because I set up a cleaning business once for my stepdaughter, and the people charging $50 an hour are just as busy as the people charging $20. So it's not how much you're charging that'll make the difference. And if I get a good response to this video, I'll put up another video where I talk about sales and how you do get that extra margin. My business is based on low volume, high margin for many reasons, but one is I'm nearly ready to retire. I don't want 50 people working here. So I talk to them about how to just look at their business. And now they've got to go away and do the work. So they've got to look at the frontiers they're facing. Can they get a technological edge somewhere? A technological edge. What are the poorly defended sectors? Which part of those sectors can we exploit? And they're there. You only have to look. There's an old saying, there's nothing new under the sun. Now that's true. Everything I'm telling you, even, you know, someone else has thought of. There's nothing new under the sun, but it's hidden. And you've got to sit down and look at it and think about it. And that's the advice I'd give to lots of people in new business who want to go into business or who are in small business. I've got some friends own an industrial supply business, and they're going into a new frontier that could tip that on its head. And it's all because they're going into a new frontier. If they just sat there and done nothing, they'd be rising and falling with the economy. And nobody wants that. In some businesses you can't avoid debt. In mine I can, but in some you can't. You don't want to have a lingering debt with the economy rising and falling and rising and falling. I mean, it'll drive you nuts. You'd lose your hair. So that's just a few thoughts on it from my point of view. Now, you can contact me if you want to learn a little bit more about that. But that analogy with the British Empire is a very good one, even if you just remember that. And remember how to look for the poorly defended areas. You have a look what Britain did. America, I mean, Great Britain fits into Queensland 55 times or something. Little tiny country in Europe completely overran Australia and America. And India and Pakistan, but those places were better defended, but New Zealand's another one. And it wasn't just the British. I mean, the Dutch, the Portuguese, the Spanish, they were all doing the same thing, but always along these same principles, and that's how I believe you've got to look at your business. So I'll leave it at that, because it could just go on and on. But like I said, if I get a bit of a positive response, I've got some selling stuff that I'd like to share with you, and it's based around, when I was a salesman, I was younger, of course, but we were inundated with all this American rubbish. Ask for the order, how to overcome objections, do 20 calls a day, etc., etc. And, it's just woeful. So I've got a new way of looking at that, and I'm happy to share that with you. And but really, take what you can from this. And if you think there's anything good in this, put a nice comment, or any comment. You can put a nasty comment if you think I've got it wrong. But give me a comment, and I'll do the second video. And I'd just like to finish by saying I'm not an expert. I like studying behaviour, but I'm no very successful businessman, but I've employed myself for 20 or 30 years. And I own my house, there's plenty of pitfalls to small business. There's plenty of work hard stuff. Everyone knows that. Anyone small business will tell you. You've got to work hard. But on the other side, you're your own boss. And if you're a believer in personal responsibility, it doesn't get any more personally responsible than that. Okay, so I hope I haven't made that too muddled, but have a think about that. If you'd like to know more, drop me a line, and I'll talk to you about sales. Okay, thanks very much, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.